A few years ago, I wrote a blog in which I questioned the greatness of the Mazda MX-5. In the eyes of pretty much every car enthusiast, this was a crime worse than an Alex Roy suit and hat combo. But I meant it, I really did. I just don't quite get what all the fuss is all about. And this is some of what I wrote. It seems I'm alone in being completely ambivalent as to the existence of the Mazda MX-5. Apparently the 900,000th example has just rolled out of Hiroshima, which means there will be yet more public outpourings of emotion for a machine which drives with all the precision of a boneless limb. This will not endear me to anyone who's ever owned or loved an MX-5. I just always judge sports cars on the way they drive, and I've always found the little Mazda slow, imprecise and unsatisfying. And the MX-5 isn't exciting. An Elise is exciting because it's a proper sports car, whereas the MX-5 is just a way of being a little more exposed to the elements. And so it went on. I even ended up calling it, well, shit, and that didn't go down too well either. These days, I'm haunted by the bloody things. Not just because that blog generated considerable hatred, but because Dan Trent, the editor of Pistonheads where I do my writing stuff, has one of the bloody things, and Neil, who stands behind the camera every week, has one too. They both think they're great, and talk about them like they're a cross between Florence Nightingale and Bambi. The MX-5 really can do no wrong. So today it's car swap day. Neil gets the 599 and I get the MX-5. But this isn't quite the deal of the century for Neil that you might have expected, because even though I'm swapping sharp Italian lines and 600 horsepower for a tight perm, about 7 horsepower and a body shell with the twist resistance of a Haribo Crocodile, Neil still has to stand behind the camera, which won't give him much time to drive the posh Fiat. Oh no. So from where I'm standing, we're both losers. Or are we? Because today, I'm going to work out if I was right or wrong about the MX-5.
So the case for the prosecution of the MX-5, and that's my personal prosecution of the MX-5, is that it's never quite squared with what I wanted from a sports car. And I suppose at this point I need to define what I mean by sports car, and I think perhaps my definition differs from a lot of people. Just because a roof comes off a car doesn't make it a sports car. That makes it a convertible or a roadster or something like that, you know. The evidence is on the seat behind me, it says roadster. The way I define a sports car is the way it behaves, the way it makes me feel, and the way the controls feel to me. So the steering, the gearbox, the pedal box, where I sit in the car, and also the way the car responds to my inputs. So the more I push the car, the more I kind of want back from it. So the harder I drive it, the better it gets. And in several of those categories, the MX-5 has always been a bit missing to me. Now, I'd probably like to answer some of the critics at the time who gave me, a right old mouthful for being rude about the MX-5, because of course you can't be rude about the MX-5. You can be rude about anything in the world, but not the MX-5. I made a couple of mistakes because I didn't flesh out that piece too far. It was only a few hundred words long. One thing, I do believe that the very first MX-5s, the Gen 1s, had something about them. They definitely were, for me, more exciting cars to drive than the later cars, especially the latest one, which I have no interest in whatsoever. The other thing is the nature of the car itself. I'm talking about driving standard cars, and so many of the defences of the MX-5 that I've read say, oh yeah, mine's got the following diff, the following suspension, the following engine mods, and it's now a riot to drive. If it's heavily modified, that's not a stock MX-5, so I don't think that's a valid defence. Anyhow, I'm in Neil's pride and joy, and I'm now going to try and understand the car and find what there is to enjoy about this car, and maybe, hopefully, prove myself wrong. So Neil's pride and joy is a VR Limited. That means it's got a locking diff, it's a 1.8 litre car, it's done 118,000 kilometres, and it is rather a sweet little thing. I mean, obviously the colour's a bit questionable and some of the other things, but it's Neil, so he's not a man of taste in some respects. What is right about this car is that it feels the right size on the road, it's got a really quite a punchy little engine, and it can be stroked along at reasonable speed. Break down the components, steering's fine, I don't think it's brilliant, It's not sort of chattering away at me. People lead me to believe that these things are all about communication, and I'm not feeling that. Perhaps partly because I'm sitting too high, I think, for the type of car that it is. Gearbox, pretty good. Levers quite short throw. Everything else about it is, it's good, it's fun, but it's not remarkable. It's not something that would get me absolutely screaming from the treetops about how amazing a driving experience it is. Ultimately, and I use this phrase a lot, if you push the car a bit harder, it doesn't seem to reward you an awful lot, and it starts to move around a bit. It's a bit wallowy. It's got quite a lot of grit. It's not moving around the whole time. In the dry, you have to try really hard to unstick it at all. In the wet, it'll do this. Well, now I'll cut you into that because that's quite amusing, but if you try and drive it like that in the wet the whole time, it can be quite tricky actually, even with this locking diff. Am I surprised at how sweet this car is? Yes. Okay, Neil, a little bit. Was I too harsh overall on the MX-5? Perhaps, but I'm going to spend a bit more time in this one to fall on my sword at all, or to retract anything I said. I think I was wrong to make blanket assumptions about all MX-5s, because this one, to me, feels a lot more fun than the Mark II that I drove, and also then the later car, which, as I said, I really don't like that much at all. So let's move from these more open roads, which really don't suit the MX-5 because it doesn't feel that powerful anyway, and up here it feels like it's really lacking power, and move into some more tight technical roads, which I think suit this car far more. And as if by magic, we're now on a much narrower road with a few more curves and some hedgerows. This is MX-5 country. To me, it's not a car still that I want to grab by the scruff of the neck though. It's not bad, but when it starts to move around a bit, it all feels a little bit messy. I suppose some people like that. I don't especially. There are probably two MX-5s. Now bear with me, I'm not going mad. When you're driving an MX-5 on a day like today, the sun's out, there's the car that you're sitting in, and even for me, someone who isn't a fan of this thing, it's a passable roadster. It's actually quite nice with the roof down, I accept that. But then there's the MX-5 that people see you driving. Now I'm someone who is not self-conscious, and I really don't care about what I look like in my clothes, as you can probably tell in my videos, but I just don't like being seen in this thing. Maybe it's because it's a bit girly and all the usual hairdresser jokes. I don't know what it is. I feel a bit ashamed in an MX-5. Now, if I don't especially like the outside of the car, there's something very appealing about the way this car's aged inside. It's a very simple design, but the one thing none of us can argue about the MX-5 is the way this car was designed and built. It is a quality product. I mean, this one, 16 years old, and it feels really, really solid. There's simplicity in here that just wouldn't be matched if we got into an equivalent contemporary MGF or something. That would now feel like a right old nail inside. This doesn't. And also, because this is an import car, it's got this incredible hi-fi system with the speakers and the headrests. That works absolutely brilliantly. And the heater can melt your shoes. The motor's a good sport though. It's willing, it revs up to about 6.5, doesn't really want to go much further than that. Gear ratios are a bit too long. Look, I can objectively pull holes in this car for quite a long time. Where I need to apologise to the MX-5 community unreservedly is that this car is worth £2,000, and for the experience I'm having today, genuinely with the roof down and what I'm doing, I don't think you can match it for £2,000. In my defence, at the time I wasn't talking about all £2,000 Mark 1 MX-5s, I was talking more about the more expensive cars that are getting into kind of used S1 Elise territory, because I think it doesn't stack up to an Elise at all. But for doing this, for the money, okay, it's a nice little thing. It is a nice little thing. But, and there has to be a but, doesn't there? I still don't think it deserves this amazing status as a driver's car. I just don't. I think it's fine. I don't think it's bad. But for the money, give me a 205 GTI any day of the week. 161, I don't mind. I just have a lot more fun driving that car than I would this. But some people just love having the roof off. So maybe this is a great roadster, and not a great sports car. Is that a fair definition?
It can't be that bad, can it?